Welcome back, rejects. Today I want to show you a couple of cheesy spots you can use to make your Auric Damnation runs easier. While the safest place to be is always with your squad, these spots aim to either funnel enemies into a choke point, break their AI pathing, or it's just a good area to hold out with many exits to boost your chances of winning horde fights. So let's get started. Beginning first with the Chasm Terminus mission, after the tunnel fight you'll approach a large open area with many dug-in heretics. You can take the left side stairs down and hop over onto this pipe. You will need smoke grenades or Psyker shields for this, as there is no cover, but it will break any melee enemy pathing. You can also melee through these stairs if you see any hordes coming down. Next, during the hacking segment, where many runs tend to end, you can actually hold out in this location, near some spawn points underneath the catwalk. You can catch the gunner spawns here and won't have to fight on all fronts. You can also back against the vertical pipe to help funnel some poxwalkers, and most importantly, it will be free of gas geysers on those tox gas missions. I recommend at least 2 people, smoke grenades and shields, 100% mandatory. Next up, we have the Ascension Riser mission. On this mission, you will eventually come to this large open area that eventually leads to a Medicaid room up ahead. There's often a lot of shooters that will spawn here, so you can take advantage of this little barrier in the corner and get some free shots on the heretics. The downside is that there are no other exits here, so if the heavy starts to show up, get ready to stealth, crack grenade, or power maul them. Next up, during the Ascension Riser holdout section, instead of standing in the middle and being charged from all sides, there is this 2x2 stack of boxes you can stand on. If you position yourself in the middle-ish area, it will break the enemy's melee AI pathing, and they will simply just stand there and waiting to be shot in the face. Add a Psyker barrier or smoke grenade and you will also be protected from shooters as well. Flames won't attach to objects, and tox gas doesn't reach high enough to affect you either, so the only specialist capable of getting you here would be a trapper, so definitely keep an eye out for those. Moving on to the Hab Dreyko mission, you'll eventually come to this balcony where it overlooks a lot of shooters. Instead of jumping down immediately, take advantage of this high ground cover here. You can slowly peek out and take out some shooters before continuing. If a fire grenade flies over, then simply jump over the railings and move to the opposite side until the fire is cleared. Moving on to throne side, on the way to the Skylink Bridge, you got this famous stairway that I see many groups wiping at. There is often an army waiting upstairs combined with a constant flow of poxwalkers from behind. You can climb onto the higher box of the stack and toss a smoke or barrier after baiting the upstairs enemies down. It doesn't fully break the melee enemies from every angle, but it will for hounds at least. And if things go bad, just jump down backwards towards the Space Marine statues. Next, during the Skylink Bridge holdout, instead of staying at the bridge house, jump onto these AC units via the barrels specifically on the right side when looking at the bridge. Gunners always spawn here and you can just spawn camp them as they climb up. This spot doesn't fully break the AI pathing from every angle though, so be sure to occasionally check around you. Finally, when you're on your way to Aegis Station, you'll come across this alleyway right next to Archivum Sycorax. At the end of the alleyway is where a huge heretic army is going to be amassed, and you can climb onto this barrel behind the garbage bin to snipe some guys out. There is a choke point to your left as well as a choke point behind you for your other squad mates, and if things go bad, simply climb over the garbage bin and just jump down. During the Comms Plex mission, where you have to power up the elevator and hack the panel, there is an altar in which you can climb onto. If you position yourself all the way to the back, most enemies will just break and stand there to be shot or poked. Dogs shouldn't try to pounce you, and mutants will likely change targets once you get up there. You can even melee through this left wall and hit whoever approaches, as well as shoot heretics coming up from the right side. Tox gas and trappers can still get you here though, so just be ready to move if you need to. Next, we're headed for the Torrent. The start of the Silo Cluster mission is often extremely rough, with your squad having to move through many choke points in a large open area. After suffering through the flights of stairs at the start, make a run to the right side and climb onto this box stack and jump onto what seems to be a water tank. Smoke grenades and barriers are 100% mandatory, as you are going to be facing shooters of every type and snipers. Melee enemies will break 100%, as they will all just stand there ready to be executed. The hounds will not find you. Fire and gas can't land up here anyways, so as long as you have smoke grenades, you can take your time killing enemies until the path is clear. Just before reaching the Medicaid room next to the dilapidated bridge, you can take a detour onto this balcony and shoot any heretics hanging out in the Medicaid room. Don't stay here for too long, as there aren't any easy exits for the big hordes, so it's only good for taking some opportune shots before moving on. During the section when you're waiting for the elevator, instead of crouching behind these sandbags, you can actually climb onto them and move left where a barrel is. If you can't hold the horde, you can just melee them, as they do circles around the sandbag. Melee enemies can still get you from here obviously, but mostly only 2 at a time. At least you'll be protected though from the gunners and snipers on the opposite side of the bridge. Last spot after you soul-crushingly fight past the tunnel packed with enemies is this little shantytown hut that you can climb onto via a barrel. Obviously no melee anything is getting up here, but smokes and shields are mandatory for shooters. You can also bait heretic hordes from the final area and retreat here to take them out. On the Magistrati Oubliette mission, when you're waiting for the slowest stairway in the Imperium to deploy, you can hold at the very back in this general area where your squad mates get revived at. There are many pillars you can use as cover, and also spawn camp the hordes as they jump down from above. The only thing you need to worry about here are the snipers from the balcony behind you. They aren't super common, but be sure to take a look every now and then. During the final hacking section of the comms array mission, when you're sending fake news to the heretics, you can move to this particular console near the stairway and climb onto a fence just behind it near some boxes. It breaks melee enemies, it's got protection against bursters, and even shooters have trouble hitting you. I recorded this during a lights out condition, but under normal circumstances, smokes and barriers would be mandatory, as snipers can get you from downstairs. Moving on to the Carnival district now, we got this hacking section near where you have to steal some passwords. Looking at the exit, you want to go to the left wall and climb a double stack of boxes, then jump onto a 2x2 stack of crates. Immediately pop smokes and you can fit the entire squad on these crates. Only jump off to go hack the console as needed, but you're safe from almost anything up here except maybe trappers, I suppose. But as long as the smokes are up, you should be safe from any kind of gunners or snipers. There is another set of crates closer to the hacking console, but I personally don't like it, as there are more angles to hold and you can't really see the entire arena from here. You guys can try it and tell me what you think. Right after finishing the hack, you might be ambushed by another specialist horde. Simply run towards this ATV and jump onto the 2x2 crates. You can spawn camp melee them as they drop down, and you can get some shots into the next market area from here as well. This final location where you're opening the roof for extraction, you can climb onto these boxes via a barrel. It's a pretty well-known spot already, but just remember to look at the right spawn point in the far corner for snipers every now and then. Moving on to the Hourglass, during the Excise Vault mission, you will eventually come to this location where you are waiting for a platform to slowly move into place. Instead of running about randomly, take the right-hand path and come to these metal pillars on a bit of an elevated ground. There is plenty of cover here, and if you go behind them, it will also funnel the heretics into a choke point if they try to climb up. There are many ways to exit too when things go bad, but just beware of gas and fire grenades, as there are no mitigations against those. When you're doing the hacking section at the servitor colony, the best spot is to hold upstairs on the left side when facing the exit. Even when there isn't a hacking console there, it still provides plenty of cover and still funnels hordes through doors. Specifically this spot with the broken catwalk, you can overlook another hacking console as well as taking some shots into the open area. And if things get out of control, simply jump down and you can reset the situation. Now moving on to the Smelter Manufactorum, starting with the Power Matrix mission. During the Cryonic Rod loading portion, it's better to hold at the top floor near these consoles. They act as a service desk where it forces melee heretics to walk around, plus these consoles can also protect you from a burster explosion. Last but not least, the ideal location to hold out during the Consignment Yard train station defense is inside this train car near where you just jumped down. It's got great cover, the entrances are wide enough to escape from, there are boxes to protect you from melee and fire. The Tox gas might come in a little bit, but generally speaking, the Tox bomber can't make the throw properly into the car due to the way the entrances are set up. You'll find that it's a much better option compared to the outside panel where it's in the open and near a death pit for bursters to push you into. And that's all for this video. These are all the spots I know for now, but I will likely make a part 2 as I find more safe spots in the future. If you made it this far, I want to thank you all for watching. Darktide is one of my favorite live service games, and I might make more videos for the other ones such as Helldivers and Starship Troopers in the future too. Remember to like this video and share any safe spots you know in the comment section. See you next time!